Hi folks, part 2, engine fire after V1, departing runway 29 at Kabul. On screen we have the normal departure to the right hand side, and to the left hand side we have a engine out procedure for that runway for a particular carrier. This is not necessarily what you would fly, but in any case, this is an example. So at 5.8 DME of the Kabul VOR, we'll begin a 20-degree bank left turn and proceed direct to the Kabul VOR and hold inbound 110 right-hand pattern at 17,000 feet, or flight level 170. Transition altitude is 14,000 in the Kabul area. The altimeter today is 1004 hectopascals, and the weather is clear, so you can appreciate the terrain and for this particular procedure. Let's go to the PowerPoint that we've looked at in the first part. I've added 3 slides just for the review, a detailed review of what the actions are. There are a lot of things that have to happen, and they should happen in the following order. So, V1 engine fire. Pilot flying, fly the aircraft, rotate as per 2-engine rotation. That is 2 to 3 degrees per second towards 15 degrees, then follow the command bars. Remember, you're on 2 engines. The pilot monitoring will immediately cancel the fire bell. The pilot monitoring will also cancel the master caution. We want the master caution to give us other problems. So this is the pilot monitoring's duty, and still monitoring the pilot flying. At 400 feet above airport elevation, the pilot monitoring will select heading cell on the pilot flying's command. Pilot monitoring will select recall, because remember, we canceled it before. And at that point, we'll be able to identify the problem. So the pilot flying would say, identify. Pilot monitoring, engine fire number 1. Pilot flying, command B. And remember the reason for doing this. For the transfer to the APU electric slater, there won't be an interruption. So engine number 1 is the problem. So we're going to select command B. Pilot flying, open the speed window immediately, because you must not exceed the V2 to V2 plus 20 later on when you're flying with an engine out. So that's important, that you get the speed window open immediately. And then pilot flying, set bank limit to 20 degrees. Remember, that's what this procedure was. So we reviewed it in our briefing. All right, so bank limit 20 degrees. And pilot flying at 5.8 of KBL VOR, left turn to KBL VOR. And we put that on the fixed page. We'll do that shortly. And to remind us visually, that's when we're going to actually make a left turn. Do not retract flaps until proceeding direct KBL VOR. This particular procedure for this particular carrier was designed by their performance section, and have taken into account the winds generally for this turn, so that the 20-degree fixed bank angle commenced at 5.8 is a safe turn, then proceed direct to the VOR. All right, and do not retract flaps until proceeding direct to VOR. When safely climbing an aircraft under control, pilot flying call fire drill. Pilot flying placing his or her hand on the engine number 1 thrust lever. In this case, confirm number 1. Pilot monitoring, confirm number 1. Pilot flying, auto throttle disengage, engine number 1 thrust lever, retard to close. Pilot monitoring, placing her or his hand on the engine number 1 start lever, confirm number 1. Pilot flying, confirm number 1, cutoff. Pilot monitoring, engine start lever, cutoff. Placing his or her hand under engine number 1 fire switch, the pilot monitoring will say, confirm number 1. Pilot flying, confirm number 1, pull. Pilot monitoring, engine number 1 fire switch, pull. If the fire switch light or the engine overheat light, that or is important, rotate and hold for 1 second, discharge light on. If after 30 seconds the fire switch or overheat light is still illuminated, then rotate to the remaining bottle and hold for 1 second, discharge light on. When proceeding direct to the Kabul VOR, bug up, retract flaps on schedule. Meanwhile, you're climbing to the MSA. We'll say flight level 170 is safe over the Kabul VOR for this procedure. Pilot monitoring, set up the hold at Kabul VOR. Remember to use the next hold, and that will be on the pilot flying's command. Pilot flying, confirmation with pilot monitoring if recall items are complete. This is something called airmanship. Did you do the right procedure? Very confusing. Did you do the recall items? Before you can call for any checklist, you have to have done the memory items. So just a quick confirmation. Yes. Are you happy with what we've done? I'm happy with what we've done. All right. Now, both the pilot flying and pilot monitoring will complete 5 items. Whatever your company uses in a word to remember those, use that. I've used DODAR, diagnose. What's the problem? Well, it was an engine fire. Did we do the right thing? Yes, we did. What are our options? Well, the weather's good. We're going to return to Kabul. If the weather wasn't good, we go en route. And then we've taken the correct actions, and then we will review. Then the pilot flying calls checklist, engine fire, engine severe damage or separation. Pilot monitoring, read the checklist as per your company SOPs. And remember, if not planning to return to the departure airport, set heading immediately for your planned takeoff alternate airport. You wouldn't get into a checklist right away if your decision was to go on to the airport, another airport. Fuel is a concern, weather is a concern, many things are a concern. So set heading, select the engine out altitude and speed, get a clearance, proceed, and then call for the checklist. The checklist, the first checklist that is done after you've done all the items we've just talked about. You don't rush into a checklist. You get memory items done, and then you do a checklist. So this will work beautifully for you. Now, let's get into the airplane and go flying. And I'm going to be pausing at different points so that we can have a look at the different steps. So you can see it's a very busy time. All right, we'll end part 2 video here, and in part 3, we'll actually launch and do the flight. Thanks for watching. See you in part 3.